Welcome to Let's Go Racing. Dani Gibson and Dick Jerardi with you, and we hope you had a wonderful holiday. And this is the time of year we like to think back to the great Smarty Jones.
We do indeed, the greatest Pennsylvania bred of all. I don't know that there'll ever be another one. It's hard to believe now, Dani, but 21 years since Smarty Jones won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and 3-year-old champion, and easily the best horse that's ever been stabled here. And a lot of great memories, especially this year, and a great documentary was put together by the guys at the workshop last year. And here it is, the ride of a lifetime.
Right after 9/11, people were feeling pretty down, and we were looking for something to grasp onto.
Everybody here was just happy to come to work, smiling every single day, you know, because of Smarty Jones.
It was something kind of like a Super Bowl.
You know, they went to, you know, go win the Kentucky Derby, and they did.
Undefeated Smarty Jones comes wide off the turn.
And it was just, it was amazing. It was amazing. This place was just, it just lit up.
We did it. We won.
Smarty! Smarty! We love you, Smarty!
I knew he had talent, and I knew he'd handle the distance. That was the race that I told myself, he's got the heart. He's got the ticker. He's a fighter.
Second on the inside. He's going to win by a colossal margin. Smarty Jones. He wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths. He remains undefeated, and it's on to Belmont.
I've been riding 20 years, and I've never had a horse like this. This is, you dream about having a chance to win the Triple Crown, so.
To go as far as we did, you know, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
The way he moved, his athleticism was just a beautiful thing to see and a beautiful thing to witness.
I love that horse. I truly love him. He is a feel-good horse. I loved what he did for the country, for so many, many, many people. And when I see him, that's what I feel. I feel all of that, you know, welling up inside of me. The gratitude I feel for having had him in my life and still have him in my life.
He was the ultimate dream, to breed a horse like this that took them to the biggest stage in racing from a little small town in Pennsylvania. I mean, it was an amazing ride.
My husband, Chappie, the most fascinating person I ever knew. One of the funniest people I ever knew. One of the toughest people I ever knew. One of the hardest to get along with people I ever knew. He was a challenge, but he was so much fun. He grew up with horses. His grandfather had a livery stable. And so Chappie had horses all his life. And that was one of the things when I first met him that I found so fascinating. We had a woman down in Maryland who was doing some of our early breaking and training of our young horses that we were buying at Keeneland. And so we asked her to, you know, give us some ideas, what trainers she would recommend. She did some research for us and told us about Bob Kamak. And we had heard about Bob because he was based at Philadelphia Park at that time. We knew Bob's reputation, very good reputation, and we met with Bob and asked him if he would take our horses, and he did. He was just a master with horses, wonderful guy.
I can go back to Bob Kamak being a mutual trainer for Bridlewood and for the Chapmans. And we literally had 20-some horses with K-Mac most of the time. And K-Mac was just such a nice person and a very good trainer in the Mid-Atlantic area. Our relationship grew, you know, from a business standpoint and also from a friendship standpoint.
Some call you the Sultan of Slots. Others, the Baron of Baccarat. The rest, just Meemaw. I'm tapped in, I'm tapped in. But no matter who you are, you know there's always another way to win on the Bet Parks app. New casino users score up to $1,000 bonus back in their first 24 hours. Take those pearls, Meemaw.
We've got your new Ford right here at Chapman Ford of Horsham. Looking for a new Bronco Sport? We've got them. Maybe a new Escape? Got plenty. Want a new Explorer? We have them too. Maybe you have your eye on a new F-150. Huge selection for you. If it's a new Bronco you've wanted, you are in luck. How about an EV? The Mach-E and F-150 Lightning are both in stock. And with great lease terms and low APR financing available, we can help you get the new Ford you want. Chapman Ford of Horsham.
He's unable to see anything or anybody. Believes the parents were shot in the home.
7 clear there, I've got 1 down. Patrol, we got 2 bodies down. Contact LT.
You know, when you're honoring somebody's life and you're at a wake and you meet the friends of that person and they say, Bobby was my best friend, Bobby was my best friend. Well, I literally thought Bobby was my best friend. He made me feel that way.
Bob was a wonderful, old-timey horseman. He knew his horses, and he was as honest as the day is long. There we go. That's right. He's speaking. Let me tell you, this happened when he died. He went out in a boom.
We were all mourning Bobby's loss, and Roy just, you know, didn't really want to navigate racing horses without Bobby, because we all cared about Bobby and loved Bobby that much. He just didn't want to do it anymore.
When we got the word about Bob, it was such a blow to Chappie that he said, Pat, let's just get out of the business. And I said, no, I don't want to. I said, you have your car business, and you know, you've told me the horse business is mine, and I'm not ready to get out. I'm ready to cut back a bit.
I remember getting a call from Roy Chapman early January of 2002. And Roy said, George, terrible about K-Mac. I said, yeah, it sure is. He says, well, you know, I just can't stomach this business anymore. I don't want to be in the business anymore. Can you sell our 2 horses for us?
We had a couple of homebreds that were going to be headed off to the track, and I wanted to know what was going to happen with them. And we sent Smarty and the other yearling horse down to George Isaacs at Bridlewood Farm, and they didn't know what they had until they started working Smarty out in company.
So the 2 colts arrived. They literally were on the back of the farm at Yearling Barn 1. And when you're raising young horses like that, you like to raise them in paddocks or fields together and let them learn how to be competitive with one another in the field. So I put those two horses together, and I got to know them a little bit. And so when they first arrived and I looked at them, Smarty was a very, small to medium-sized colt. Very, very correct. Had a very fluid walk, very athletic, very well conformed, very correct. A couple weeks into this process, you could see that Smarty was, roughing up the other colt in the paddock at night. The other colt would come in and he'd have kick marks on him, he'd have bite marks on him, and clearly he was taking the worst of it. So Smarty clearly was a more dominant animal.
Once he started working with other horses, he started being very competitive. And George would call, and Chappie would usually answer the phone.
So I called Roy up, and I said, Roy, I said, let me tell you about your two horses here. Let me tell you what I think.
And George would tell him how that morning's work went. He said, Roy, he said, this may be the horse you've been waiting for.
Somewhere around September of 2002, we broke Smarty Jones. And you go into the 2-year-old year, and that's when you first start doing your little, what I call, introduction to speed. The cream starts rising to the top. The first few times we asked Smarty to show a little bit of, speed, he clearly had a lot more than the rest of the crop.
So we knew we had a special horse. I told George Isaacs, I said, George, don't listen to my husband. Don't let him string you along. This horse is not for sale. He will be with me forever. And he's still mine.
Roy says, well, George, I can feel the excitement in your voice. I mean, I think he's definitely a stakes caliber horse. How good he is beyond that, none of us know until he goes to the races, and he'll have to prove that himself.
George had said to us, you are going to need to get a trainer who's going to travel. You're going to move beyond Philadelphia Park. We didn't know who to go to, and so Chappie said, I'm going to call Mark Reed. And Mark recommended 2 trainers. One was based in Maryland, and one was based at Philadelphia Park. And that one was John Service.
I actually started training right out of high school. I bought my first horse for $350. I was, I believe, 18 then. And the horse won his first 2 races. When Bobby was killed, they reached out to Mark and they said, we have 2 horses that are coming in. We have 1 horse that we think could be a pretty nice horse. We need somebody that has experience training nice horses. Who do we get? And Mark recommended me. When he came from that farm with the tag that he was talented, I expected something that we were going to have some fun with. He was built good, but he wasn't real big. Probably the most important thing is the it factor. Just the way, really good horses have a tendency to carry themselves like they're the real deal. Like everybody, pay attention, I'm here. And then you start working them out, letting them run. The fitter they get, the more you start to see if there's a little bit of talent there. And then he just kept progressing after that. Just kept getting better.
My team at BetParks Online Sportsbook and Casino has a great offer for new users. Download the BetParks app, open a new account, and get up to $50 back on your first sports bet if it doesn't win. Plus, you'll get a BetParks bonus box with 50 BetParks coins and 50 bonus spins on the BetParks Collect 'em online slot game. For details, visit betparks.com.
Turning for Home is a nonprofit that has provided for over 4,000 former racehorses with a safe retirement.
These brave warriors do so much for the fans, and we want to make sure they're taken care of.
It's a group effort by all the owners and the trainers, and we've helped so many horses.
Responding to the need of a better system that addressed the uncertain future for the retirement of the equine population at Parks Racing, the PTHA rallied horsemen to support the program.
It's awesome. I mean, these are the things that we deal with every day that put us into the game and make the game great. Without the horses, we have nothing.
Turning for Home became the first on-track retirement program at a year-round racetrack.
Aftercare, it takes all of us, and every single person is responsible for it. These horses give us everything on the track. It's up to us to give them everything off the track.
If you would like to help these amazing animals find a great second career and forever home, please contact us at turningforhome.org.
The veterinarian called me and said he was sending in a horse for an emergency eye removal. That the horse had reared up, hit his head on the gate.
We took him up to the gate, the first time he's ever been there. And he's just standing there, and John had 2 other horses in there. And we're just kind of, getting used to, the track gate. And they shut the back doors of the other horse, and he exploded. He went straight up and hit his head on the bar.
Horses rear up in the gate all the time, but this one, it caught everybody's attention. It was the loudest bang you ever heard. He hit it square on, this is like a steel metal beam that he hit it on. And as soon as he came down from his rearing up, it just immediately spurted blood out of his nose, out of his eye. It was everywhere.
He had fractured everything on this side of his face. I thought he was going to lose his eye. It was bad.
Any other horse probably would have went down and let you know they're in total pain. Smarty walked back to the barn like there was no problem, but the blood left a trail all the way back to the barn. He was amazing. Right there, I ended up really liking him. We got the vet, and we thought we'd give him a day to see what happened. Sometimes things stop, but the next morning it looked way, way worse. So then we sent him off to Patty Hogan's.
So I was expecting, a terrible mess when the horse was going to be sent to me. So he's sending it over as an emergency. When the horse arrived, I went to meet the trailer. No matter how he looked, he was so spunky, and he just trotted in like no big deal.
John tried to talk her into, this is a really nice horse. We don't want him to lose his eye. So she did everything she could to save it, and it worked.
It was underneath all this other tissue that had become swollen overnight and just kind of bulging out. So it was all subcutaneous tissue. And the eyeball itself was okay. So that was wonderful. I didn't have to take his eye out. So it ended up being about 10 days of medical treatment.
And then he was shipped to a small farm in Pennsylvania, and they kept him going.
I see so many horses a year, but I remember this horse. I can even remember examining him, what he looked like. He just was very vivacious. He was smaller than most horses, but just so spunky. He was like a pain in the ass to work with, but in a good way. He just had so much vitality in life.
Smarty had brilliant speed. He was really quick. He got a little hot in the paddock first time, but that was him. You know, and you learn that as you go. That's just my horse. That's just the way he was. I think it was an 8-horse field, and I remember a trainer coming up to me, and he goes, geez, John, your horse is 4 to 5. First time out. And I said, Dave, he's a good bet at 4 to 5.
Smarty trained well, and his first race, the maiden race, that's when I really said, wow, this horse is special.
But the first race was like, John, where'd you get this one from? Because he was so fast.
They broke from the gate. He went right to the front and just stayed there and won by, I think, seven or 8 lengths his first start. And fast time, pretty impressive time.
Look at Smarty Jones inside the gate pole, just roaring away.
He amazed people then, because a maiden going into a stake race is not the usual thing, and he blew them away. Those horses were seasoned performers. He had one race, and only months before almost lost his life. So for that reason, we were, wow. He got a lot of attention at that time.
It wasn't a gaga race, but I felt good about it. I mean, he did everything what I expected him to do. Now we're going to step into a little bit deeper water. Let's see how he handles that. And then his next start was in the Pennsylvania Futurity. And I remember I was standing with Mr. and Mrs. Chapman. They're flipping the time up, and I'm going, oh, no, this is not good.
When he left the gate, I thought he was going too fast.
And here comes Smarty Jones. And Smarty Jones asserts himself early and will take charge as they come onto the main track.
The chappie goes, what's wrong? I said, he's going way too fast.
Smarty Jones went the habit of sizzling 44-1.
And the majority of the time a horse does that, at the end of the race, they get exhausted and they don't finish. And they turn for home, and he kept going.
But look at this colt, folks. Smarty Jones in hand, wrapped up, much the best. He is just awesome.
I think he won by 15 lengths. So now he's shown me that he has some serious ability. He's a 2-year-old getting ready to turn 3, and the 3-year-olds will be on the Derby trail.
John sent him to New York.
And they're off.
At that time, it was called the Count Fleet Stakes. It's the only race we missed. We were in Florida, and we went to a dog track and watched the simulcast of that race.
Smarty Jones powers up alongside Risky Trick and grabs the lead at the top of the stretch. Smarty Jones in front, roused to a narrow lead. Smarty Jones will roll home at 2 to 5, the emphatic winner of the Count Fleet.
As soon as that race was over, we called John, and John said, okay, boys, we are on the Derby trail.
Smarty Jones continues undefeated, wins the Southwest by 3/4. Smarty Jones in full stride and pulling away. Smarty Jones the winner by 3.5 lengths. Smarty Jones, one step more to Kentucky and one giant step to $5 million.
There's nothing more dangerous than a confident athlete. You know, when you go out there feeling like you could beat anybody, and my horse hadn't lost. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. The week going into the Derby, I mean, it couldn't go any better.
Go get him, Smarty.
Everything was just going perfect. I was just like, you know what? I mean, he's going to bring his A game. I think he's good enough. And if he gets beat, it gets beat because he's not good enough. And that took all the pressure off me. I was quietly as confident as could be.
I think the most difficult thing is probably trying to handle all the phone calls to come up with all the tickets for people that I hadn't talked to in 10 years.
I honestly felt like this was my time. Like this was meant to be. This was gonna happen. Even after the skies opened up and the tents were blowing down. We're walking over, and I was a little concerned on how my horse was going to handle the crowd. And watching him walk over like he belonged there, I knew right then, I said, man, this script's already written.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. Smarty Jones very eager. He's fourth. Pollard's Vision is there on the outside. Smarty Jones is a stalking second as they approach the far turn. And undefeated Smarty Jones comes wide off the turn. Smarty Jones is all up. And Smarty Jones is rose to the lead by journeyman jockey Stuart Elliott. And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle Slow in 1977. Smarty Jones has done it.
I mean, when that horse came across that wire first, I mean, people were going nuts.
Kentucky Derby is the biggest race in the sport. He just won the championship.
I just can't explain it. It was unbelievable that I actually won the Kentucky Derby. It feels great. Just no words for it.
Just be careful what you ask me. I'm from Philadelphia. We've never raced at this level, never thought we'd get here until we met Smarty, this guy sitting next to me.
I'm like any trainer. I've dreamt about this my whole life.
He laid me out a plan, and he did not deviate 1 inch.
They were great, and they said, listen, you get us to the Derby, you go do what you have to do. When somebody tells you that and they give you carte blanche to go get the job done, it makes it a whole lot easier. My wife and I drove back the next day. We got up early the next morning to come to the barn. And when I came to the barn, there was barricades all around my barn. I was like, what the heck's going on here? And by 8 o'clock, there was media personnel everywhere. I was like, are you serious? I mean, it was crazy.
The fact that there was unlimited access through John Service and the Chapmans and Stuart Elliott, there was no question out of bounds. I think that was huge. Just the name of the horse, everything about it was cool.
I'm a school teacher in Philadelphia, and I promised all the children that I would come out and see Smarty Jones today.
We love Smarty. He's, you know, Philly's favorite.
Go for the underdog.
Who would ever think that this could have happened? You talk about a people's hero. Let's hear it for our people's hero, Smarty Jones. This is a real hero.
I think Smarty Jones was the one that saved this industry here, because from that came a casino gambling. That was all on the back of Smarty Jones.
I don't know how many people were here today, but they were lined up trying to get in here. They were lined up at the door. Look what he accomplished. This is the American story. This is American success. And I think that's what he brought to those people right to their doorstep.
There was so much excitement when he was running. I mean, you couldn't turn the radio on or the TV on without hearing about it.
In horse racing, you know, obviously you want the Kentucky Derby winner to run in the Preakness. And, you know, just gearing up for those 2 weeks, just people were just happy.
I remember saying before the Preakness on our TV show that the Derby was the appetizer.
He bounced out of the race real good, and I'm real happy with him, and he's doing really well. He's coming in the race better than I am, I'll tell you that.
It did come out of left field, and why us? I mean, really, it was rather amazing.
I'm taking it one race at a time. I'm watching my horse. He's had a long haul since January.
As we were living it and going through it, I would say to my husband, this is such a wonderful story. Can you believe we're living it? It's ours. It's our story with this little horse.
Gotta love it, huh? And they're off. Smarty Jones gets off to a good beginning, and the Derby winner, Smarty Jones, runs along in second. And around the far turn, an inviting opening on the inside for Smarty Jones. And as they hit the top of the stretch, Smarty Jones has taken the lead. It is Smarty Jones in front. Smarty Jones, he's pulling away. He's pulling away to win impressively here. He's going to win by a colossal margin. Here is Smarty Jones. He wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths. He remains undefeated. And it's on to Belmont. This Philadelphia story continues its magical way to the elusive Triple Crown. This is special.
That Smarty Jones, the Philly Flyer, turned the Preakness into a runaway. And they rolled home to win the Preakness and now set sail for Belmont Park.
Dear Smarty Jones, my name is Beach. I'm 10 years old, and I'm in 5th grade. I live on Captiva Island in Florida. I watched you win the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and I think you will win the Belmont, too. I'm so excited. You have inspired me to run like a racehorse when I'm working with my physical therapist. My nurse times me when I'm pretending to race. I even whinny like a horse. You've lifted my spirits, and even though I breathe with a ventilator, I feel as lucky as you.
You know, the most interesting thing also for me is just how in love the whole country became with this horse.
Chappie and I were both so very grateful that we had a horse that we could share with the world.
I remember saying that to Chappie, you know, no matter what happens here, Chappie, you know, we made it, and it's been a great ride.
This horse had a grueling campaign. I mean, he gave 200% every time he ran.
Have good trips, though.
And let's face it, when he left the gate, he had a bullseye on his back. He was the target horse. He was the one to beat.
Will he take his place in racing history? We'll see. They're off in the 136 Belmont. Smarty Jones got off to a good beginning today. And Stuart Elliott trying to find a comfort zone there. And Smarty Jones has taken the lead as they begin their long journey down the Belmont backstretch. There's 5 furlongs to go, just a minute from the wire. And Smarty Jones has to hold on to that lead for just 1 minute more. Around the far turn, and it's Smarty Jones. He lets it out a notch to lead by a length and a half. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Smarty Jones is a 4-length lead. And Smarty Jones enters the stretch to the roar of 120,000. But Birdstone is going to make him earn it today. The whip is out on Smarty Jones. It's been 26 years. It's just 1 furlong away. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. Smarty Jones was valiant but vanquished, finishing second.
It was a transition from the Derby to see people crying from happiness to crying from sadness.
And he ran a heck of a race. He ran a hell of a race.
But we've had a great year, and I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna put my head down. I mean, we accomplished a lot. I'm really proud of what we got done. I'm proud of the whole team. Everybody needs to be happy. They don't need to be sad.
It was tough to take, but I felt just as good going into that race as I did as any, and like I told Chappie, it was a hell of a ride.
Very, very, very well-demeanored, kind animal, and he deserves to be classified with the great horses of all time, even if he never runs another race.
Whatever happens, our names will be associated with this horse forever.
We can all remember the Belmont like yesterday. I mean, I don't think there's a horseman in the country that watched that race that day that would tell you otherwise. They didn't think that Smarty, should have won that day.
You want to see him still race?
That's be up to the horse. He will tell us how far he wants to go. 2 more races we'd like to do. We'd like to see him run in Philadelphia 1 more time. And we'd like to see him do the Breeders' Cup. If he can do that, we'll do it. And if we can't do that, then that'll be enough for me, too.
When we started him back to the track after 21 days, I didn't see the same horse. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? We sat down and got together and thought, Jesus, this is the best interest of this horse is, to pull the plug, and that's what we decided on.
We've always said from day one with this horse that he's been so good to us that when it came time to retire him, we wouldn't hesitate.
They didn't want to jeopardize the horse. The last thing they want to do was jeopardize the horse.
How he came to the end of his racing career, which just still is a heavy burden in my heart, because we will never know how good a horse he might have been. We'll never know.
He definitely had a condition that put him at risk. Horses are athletes, but they're not machines, and it's up to us to be diligent about finding a problem before it becomes a disaster, and that's what that was.
we decided to get 4 opinions from 4 vets. I called George and I said, I've got these 4 opinions. 3 vets say don't race him, and 1 said we can inject him. George, what do you think? He said, you cannot race that horse again. He took me off the hook there.
Well, there's no question that they made the right decision when they retired Smarty Jones, and it took nothing away from the horse. I mean, the horse had a brilliant career, to say the least.
I'll find myself with younger generation, and the conversation will come up about Smarty Jones, and I'll start talking to them, and they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? You forget that the 20 years is going by that fast.
I mean, he was magnificent. Everybody loves to rally around the winner, right? And so the whole community came together. So I think that it's just a part of the Bucks County heritage for us up here.
He was the people's horse.
How many horse races have you been to?
This is my first time. First, I chose by their names, and then I chose by their numbers.
It's just a Philadelphia thing. You're from Philadelphia. You cheer for the underdog. You cheer for the winner. You know, we're behind you.
Well, a lot of people loved the name, and other people loved that he was from Philly. He was the underdog, the blue-collar horse from the wrong side of the tracks. He proved them wrong. He did it.
And the fact that, you know, we let everybody in on the story, and it went from being no story to being all over the news, and people just gravitated.
I think they just thought he was a little guy from Philly, and, you know, and the people are little guys from Philly, so they were bonding. Even small children, they're screaming out Smarty and Smarty. I've never seen anything like it.
He changed my life, for sure. And it was just a whirlwind then to watch him on his journey through the Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont.
Winning the Kentucky Derby, that was the best time in my life so far, was that race.
And to this day, I have people, ask me about Smarty Jones. I find it incredible that, is it 20 years later? That we're still talking with the same excitement. He's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of horse.
He's living the good life. He's at a wonderful place, Equistar Training Center with Rodney and Sharon. He's with a wonderful, wonderful family who love him and take care of him just like he belonged to them.
People relate to sports heroes in all different ways, whether it's football, basketball. He's their sports hero. There was so much electricity when he was on the Derby Trail. It was amazing. And if there is ever a horse that can recreate that energy, it will be amazing.
I just want to say it was such a great time to go through. Smarty brought us even closer together. Everybody loved him.
Hello, I'm Jeff Matty, Executive Director of the PTHA. On behalf of all of us here, we very much hope you enjoyed Ride of Lifetime, the Smarty Jones story. As we close out 2025, we have a lot to be thankful for. A lot of great performances on the track, and a lot of great achievements earned off the track. In March, we will crown our champions for this year. March 7th, 2026, we will have our annual Horsemen's Awards, which takes place at Celebrations right down the road on Galloway. Additionally, in 2026, we look forward to welcoming turf racing back. Construction on our turf course will start in March, Mother Nature depending on the exact date. Also, our stake schedule is about to come out. It will be highlighted by the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. PA Derby Day will be September 19th. I ask that you please mark your calendars now. Throughout the holiday season, we hope you and your families have a great time. Sometimes away from the track for our trainers is a great time to refresh and get ready for 2026. But with that, I want to turn it over to Dick and Dani. And again, thank you for our viewership throughout the year. Thank you for your support, and have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Well, it's so much fun to go back, and just what a great documentary Ride of a Lifetime was. Brings you back to all those emotions, tells you the story. Where is Smarty Jones now, and what's new?
Yeah, the story really changed here in 2025. It started when I got a call on January 2nd. I was on my way to State College, and the next day, Trish Bowman and I were going to go visit Smarty Jones at Aquastar Farm in Annville, and the call was from Brian Bouye from the Hall of Fame. He says, look, you want to be in the Hall of Fame committee for the first time. Well, I got on the committee, and for the first time ever, we got Smarty Jones onto the final ballot. Barely got him on. We needed 8 of the votes. He barely got 8. He won in a photo. And then, of course, he got on the ballot. And then we found out in April there was only one name out of the 16 on the final ballot that made the Hall of Fame. And it was Smarty Jones. And Bruce went down to Florida when we found out. We got the word a couple days early to hang out with Pat Chapman. And I was able to surprise her on the phone with the news that Smarty Jones had made the Hall of Fame. And then on August 1st, we're all up at Saratoga Springs on just an incredibly emotional day. And I've told this to people, toward the end of the ceremony, I had to put on sunglasses. I mean, that's how emotional it was for all of us who lived through that. And it was such a great day. It was this beautiful Friday at Saratoga. You know, everybody was there, John Service, Stuart Elliott, Pat Chapman, and it was the celebration of what Smarty Jones meant to this racetrack, to horse racing in Pennsylvania, and really nationally. He's one of the great names of the 21st century, there's no question.
Well, not only is the horse deserving the connections, and of course Mrs. Chapman and everything this horse has done for not only horse racing in Pennsylvania, but this racetrack right here. So just a beautiful full circle moment.
Yeah, no question, and I think everybody understands the impact of Smarty Jones here, especially at Parks.
Well, we hope everybody had a wonderful holiday, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year on Let's Go Racing.
Off and racing in the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby in a flawless beginning, and seize the Ray. He's going to seize the day in the Pennsylvania Derby. Here comes Torpedo Anna, a 16th left to go. Torpedo Anna, the Grizzly has the heart of a lion. Torpedo Anna gets the win, a narrow victory in the cotillion.